Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about I can't move on from my ex.
It's difficult.
Yeah, many of you guys are struggling with a breakup for long periods afterwards, and you're really finding it hard to let them go, to let the idea of them go, and to maybe even consider start dating other people.
Oh, yeah. And there's things that you might be doing that might be making it more difficult for you to move on. One of those things is if you are reaching out to your ex and it's getting nowhere, you find that they're ignoring your messages, they're not replying. It moves you from a space of really reflecting on the breakup and what happened to now you're obsessing if they're going to respond. Now you're obsessing about what you're going to say next. Now you're obsessing over the small details instead of really giving yourself that space and chance to heal on your own.
Yeah, it's normal to do this. However, you got to get to a place where you slowly kind of force yourself past it and process. Keep talking about it, dealing with it, processing it to get through it.
Right. And I don't mean to say that you want to ignore your ex if they're reaching out to you and the two of you are having discourse. However, if you are just reaching out to your ex and you are not in no contact and, you keep messaging them, they're not receptive, it's important to be able to have some boundaries on your own.
A breakup can be a catalyst for depression. We can ruminate of what we did wrong, feel guilt, and that guilt can really build up inside of us. The sadness can overwhelm us, and it can make us feel like we just have no life within us, no energy to move forward. And we sit there and we beat ourselves up and just we scrutinize everything that we did wrong in the relationship. And it's almost like we want to punish ourselves. And it's like we start to, I think, get to a place unconsciously where like, well, I did this. This is my fault. And so I'm going to punish myself. And you don't want to find joy or happiness again because you're just stuck in that feeling of wanting them back.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes our brain will start to tell us messages and we start to believe those messages just about our future, about ourselves, about our love life. And it can sound like thoughts like it will never work out, or that relationship was the best that it gets, or it's all downhill from here. When we get caught into this depression, it almost tricks our mind into thinking that this is it for us. There's no more joy to be had. We've had all the joy that we're ever going to have in our life, and that's pretty much it. Or we won't find that level of connection or excitement with anyone else, or even with that partner again.
Yeah. And that can be really consuming. I'm never going to find somebody like this again. I'm never going to find somebody like that again. And there may be certain qualities that you won't find at that level with somebody else. But there may be other qualities that are even better for you in the long run than the qualities that they had, right? So it's tough because you get stuck on them. You don't want to let go of them. You don't even want to let go of the idea of them. In fact, many of you are afraid that if you let go of the idea that they won't come back. But that's not true.
Yeah.
It really isn't true. That's not how it works. If you get to a place where you feel okay and you can let go, that's fine. It doesn't mean that they won't come back. Right? I've heard people say to me, I'm afraid to let go of the idea because I'm afraid that if they come back, I won't want them.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Right? And it's such a odd thing to think. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, wow, you don't want to let them go because you're afraid you won't want them if they come back. Well, if that was the case, would you really want, is that who you're supposed to be with?
Yeah. And I think it's hard because you are thinking about them so much, you miss them so much that it's hard for you to imagine a place where you wouldn't want to be with them.
Yeah.
And that can almost scare you because you're so connected with them. It almost can feel like a bit of a betrayal. And you might be getting pressure from other people around you to start dating again. Maybe so-and-so's like, oh, I have a cousin and a cousin's friend. And oh, I think you guys would make a great couple. Or, oh, I have a daughter. That would be perfect for you.
Yep.
So we might start to be getting pressure from others to date or to look around. And we might not feel entirely ready. We might feel really afraid.
Guilty.
We might feel guilty.
The idea of somebody told me just the last week, I would feel too guilty to even like somebody else. It's awful.
Yeah. When you feel so connected to someone, even after a breakup,
I felt like
it
that.
can feel betrayal.
Yeah, I felt like that too. It was an awful feeling. It's like, ugh. And then you get upset because you're like, they're dating someone else, but I can't.
Yeah, like how could they?
Yeah.
You know, for a lot of people, they're like, I can't even imagine being on a date,
Yeah.
let alone, you know, dating somebody consistently or letting somebody into my life on that level.
So if you're in that place, that's okay. You know, don't let anybody push you to do anything that you're not ready to do. If you do start to meet people that you're interested in, don't try and rush things. Don't try and force things. Just genuinely try to get to know them. Be curious about who they are. You don't want to wind up in another heartbreak.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I know many of you might feel like it's not fair to the other person. Be honest with where you're at. Be honest with the other person. If you are dating, I think that's something that's really important.
Very true.
And, you know, it's important to be transparent from the get-go. But getting to the point where you're at least curious about someone else can be a start. I know there can be this thought of, well, this person's not my ex. They're never going to be my ex. They don't look like my ex. They don't smell like my ex. They don't order the same things that my ex orders off the menu.
Yeah.
They're not as funny as my ex. So there can automatically be this comparison when there's like this romantic pretext to meeting someone, getting to know someone. Take that pressure off of yourself. You know, if you don't want to be on the apps and you're not ready for that, don't be on dating apps. If you're out and you just meet somebody organically and you're curious, that could be a start. It doesn't mean it needs to go anywhere romantic. It can just mean I'm open to hearing someone else's experiences. I'm open to connecting emotionally with someone else, in the very least on a platonic level.
Yep.
But being in that mindset of just being open can do wonders for your social life. It's so important to be social during a breakup.
Absolutely.
Another thing that's important when you are struggling to move on is to stop telling yourself that you can't. You know, one thing I hear a lot from people is like, I just can't move on, I can't. And when you're telling yourself that, it's almost like you're giving your brain instructions.
Yeah.
You're saying, well, we can't, me and my brain, me and my mind, we can't do this. And so think about what you're telling yourself. Think about what your brain is repeating to itself over and over and over and over and over again. If you have that mindset of I can't, I won't be able to, you know, that in itself can be really limiting.
Try replacing that word with, instead of can't, say won't. Okay?
I won't move on.
Yeah, because at least then you're owning it. At least then you're not saying you don't have the ability. It's saying it's a choice. I won't move on. Okay. At least you're not saying that you can't move on, because can't implies that you don't have the ability to do it. At least if you say I won't, then you're owning it, and you have to own it. You're forcing yourself to say, yeah, I'm responsible for this decision.
That's good. That's good. Another way you could replace it if you're feeling a little bit more open is to be able to say, I think I can try. I think I can start. It might be nice. You know,
It might be nice. I like
working
that.
with really depressed clients, sometimes, you know, in counseling school, they have all these wonderful ideas about what will work with clients. And then sometimes it's a therapist who try them out and you're like, man, where did they get this from?
It would be nice if those skills worked.
It's true. But working with some clients who are super, super depressed, you know, I remember me being a young therapist in my internship. I walk in like, got a depressed client, affirmations, let's go. We're going to talk about all
They're
the
like, I
wonderful
can't.
things. I won't.
You're like, you won't.
But thinking about, you know, where you're at, you have to meet yourself where you're at. And as therapists, we have to meet clients where they're at too. You know, me being a young therapist, I walk in with this list of affirmations and this person's like, I don't freaking, they use stronger language than that. I don't freaking believe any of this stuff. And you expect me to say it to myself in the mirror? You expect me to write this down?
Yep.
I don't believe this, you know? So if you find it difficult to engage in that positive self-talk, a stepping stone might be, well, it might be nice. You know, maybe
Wouldn't
that's
it be
where,
nice?
Yeah, that's maybe where the conversation can start. Is maybe I don't think this is possible for me. Maybe I can't and I won't move on. But what might be nice? What
Would it be nice if you found somebody that was as funny as your ex?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
as, you know, caring as your ex, or as thoughtful as your ex? Wouldn't it be nice if you found somebody that you enjoyed spending time with again? Those are all things you want to think about.
Yeah.
You know, ultimately you can't control your ex. You can't control somebody else. You can't make them stay. You can't force them. The best thing that you can do is respect their decision, heal from it, work on yourself from it, learn from it, leave them alone and see what they do. Many times they do come back, but you have no guarantee one way or the other.
Yeah. And we have to be willing to take care of ourselves through the process. I know so many times we're so obsessed about our ex, what our ex is doing, and it's almost like we exist for the purpose of being with our ex. It's almost like life has no meaning outside of that relationship, and that's just not true.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot to live for. There's a lot of experiences to be had. There's a lot of life to be lived. And so I know sometimes our mind can trick us into believing a lot of things, but we have to be in a place where we're a bit more open and thinking about, yes, you might have experienced very unique things with that ex, but think about what they brought out of you that still exists in you. You know, if they brought out that funnier side of you, if they brought out that more relaxed version of you, if they brought up that more hopeful side of you, all of those things still exist in you. They were maybe just the facilitator to kind of get that stuff out. You know, in a relationship, we see different parts of ourselves too, but all of those things still exist in you. So be hopeful.
I won't.
You won't?
I can't.
Wouldn't it be nice?
It would be nice. I won't, though. At least I'm owning it.
I respect it.
All right. So you can get our help personally on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coachings and I do Zoom calls. And you can also get a Zoom call with Coach Victoria.
If you will, or you shall. I'm here to chat whenever you would like.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.